Sveisan Sveisan, I'm Daisy Viktoria, and welcome to another medieval adventure. Today we are going to explore what a fashionable lady would have worn in the 15th century. And we're gonna do that using Cruella. In case you didn't see it, my last video was all about making a medieval Cruella costume. I took Cruella and I placed her in the 1430s, and since Cruella is a fashionable lady, it was very important to choose a time period and a style within that time period that could display her artistic, fashionable soul. When I did the video about making the costume, I didn't actually show every layer that would be worn with the dress because some of the layers I already had. So that's why I thought it would be fun to do another video today about how I actually put on all the layers so you guys can see what's actually worn with that style of dress. So in other words, we're going to be exploring fashionable 15th century fashion, but also what would Cruella wear if she was a 15th century lady, which she could be if we put her in the 15th century like I just did. So first of all, in case you don't know, Cruella De Vil is the villain from Disney's 101 Dalmatians. There's currently a new movie out starring Emma Stone called Cruella, and it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, get thee to a theater and go see Cruella because it's really, really nice, and it's just artistically breathtaking. Like, I would wear Cruella's costumes in a heartbeat. I was so interested in Cruella that I decided to make something that merged her with some of my other historical medieval interests. In doing so, I placed her in the 15th century because that was a time of fashion innovation, and someone like Cruella who has that drive to be really, really fashionable would fit in really well there and would be able to really show off her artistic, fashionable side. Throughout the 15th century, we see a lot of very quick fashion innovation. The 14th century really started a time when fashion started to evolve more quickly than it had in the past, and the 15th century really saw that take off like crazy. I do have PDF tutorials available for the dress styles that I'm wearing here, so if you really like what you see today and you want to make one of your own, please follow the link in the description and I will get you all the resources so you can get started making your own. First of all, a fashionable lady, as well as everyone, would wear a linen shift or chemise, or insert the word that goes to the country of origin, just an undergarment that would act as a barrier between your skin and your outer garments. I'm wearing a pretty basic shift here. There are plenty of variations. Basic ones are very common. The next layer I'm wearing is actually a dress that we see in the 14th century as well, and that is a fitted kirtle. This dress is characterized by being very fitted throughout the torso and then very voluminous in the skirt. Kirtles and gowns of earlier periods were less fitted, and it was throughout the late 14th century that we saw a lot of fitted kirtles and gowns becoming very prevalent. So going into the 15th century, we are still wearing these dresses. And in fact, this could be an entire outfit on its own. The kirtle I am wearing laces up in the front with finger loop cord, which I also made by hand using a period technique. And I have buttons on the arms, so that way the sleeves can be a little bit more fitted versus if they didn't have buttons. A kirtle would typically be made of wool, at least as far as we have uncovered. Mine is made of linen in order to make it a little bit less hot. We also do see a lot of linen linings in extant garments. The kirtle acts as a base garment here, and the gown that goes on top of the kirtle is a houppelande. A houppelande is characterized as being a less fitted outer gown, which is belted at the waist or the underbust, and it has very large, voluminous, luxurious sleeves. The houppelande would be made of wool, maybe a silk, maybe a brocade, something fancier. We see a lot of damask patterns in period artwork. My houppelande is a wool blend, and I used a wool blend in order to save a little bit of money. I chose a wool rayon blend so that way it would kind of enhance the drape without taking away from the good things of wool, such as its wicking properties and ability to not make you super hot, which you would see in a poly blend. The houppelande is belted at the waist or the underbust. We see a lot of different types of belts in the period, usually with some sort of decoration on them. For my belt, I chose to add some gold metal filigree pieces with pearls at the center of each filigree. Many outer gowns in this period were lined in fur. So if you think about how cold it was in Europe in the 15th century, this makes perfect sense. It's not really that cold where I am now today, and I want to be able to wear this gown to reenactment events later, so I chose to fake it, and while mostly leaving the gown unlined, I added a fake fur lining to the collar and the sleeves where you will see it. Now here's where we get to draw in Cruella again, and this part is super cool. In the Middle Ages and into the Renaissance as well, ermine fur was really popular. So ermines are these really adorable little weasels, and they're mostly all white with a black spot on the end of their tails. So what they would do is take the pelts of the ermines and stitch them together. So you would end up with this white fur that had black spots every so often. Now, what other animal do we know that has a white coat with black spots? That's right, Dalmatians. So that is another reason why I really wanted to put Cruella in this period, because the opportunity to give her a white fur with black spots was just too good to pass up. Houppelande in the 15th century had a wide variety of necklines. Because of Cruella's character and how kind of bold and foreboding I wanted her to look, I decided she needed one with a big collar, which was certainly one of the fashionable styles. And I just really liked the way it came out. My houppelande has a train in the back. Houppelandes could have a train or they could not have a train, but honestly we do see a lot with a train, and being a fashionable lady, that is what I wanted on mine as well. Now we haven't addressed the hair yet. I am wearing a wig. Big surprise, that's not my real hair. I bet you had no idea. There are a lot of hairstyles and hats in the 15th century. In the 1430s, one that we see very commonly is with the hair taken up toward the top of the head and held in place with crispinets or these types of hair nets. So the hair nets sort of go around the hair and contain it. And then we have this padded roll that goes on top of that. My crispinets are made with some silk and some other gold colored trims, as well as real pearls. This is an experimental version of crispinets. I have tied them over the top of my head because that's what's been working to keep them in place, since they are situated so high up on my head. On top of the crispinets goes a padded roll. This one is made of red velvet, so it matches my belt and the whole color scheme of Cruella. And around the padded roll, I've wrapped a lot of pearls. These ones are actually fake pearls because I needed so many of them. And then I've also wrapped a gold cord. And you see padded rolls in period images with lots of different decoration, so I just wanted to choose decorations that matched the rest of my outfit. A lot of times we see necklaces worn with this style, and in the Cruella movie, there is a necklace which is very similar to 15th century jewelry. So you've got some sort of like a gold filigree with a red stone on it, and that is what I chose to emulate as the 15th century version of Cruella's necklace. And last but not least, let's talk about the footwear. Footwear in this period would typically be pointed shoes. We do have a French word for the very pointed shoes called poulaines. Mine are not all that pointed. They could in fact be pointier, but I think these are fine. And then I'm going to add something to my shoes, which I've actually recently acquired. If you want to keep your shoes off of the dirty roads and a little bit elevated, you might wear pattens. These are basically wooden blocks. These have a hinge so that way you can actually walk in them. These are basically wooden platforms that you can wear underneath your shoes, and they strap onto your shoes. I actually just got these patents this past year from Boots by Beaumont. While I'm not sponsored or partnered in any way with this shop, they have a lot of really amazing medieval recreation footwear that works so well and holds up through so many events. And I've been wearing their shoes for years and I love them. So I'll put the link below. And without further ado, we have medieval Cruella. Please enjoy this frolic with me as Cruella De Vil. I'm so pleased with this whole ensemble. What I really love about this is that I was able to take Cruella's character, put her into a period that I'm passionate about, and effectively create something that I can wear to events with or without the Cruella hair. This merges my love of cosplay with my love of historical fashion, and I'm just super excited about it. I had a lot of fun making this, and it's so much fun to wear. Thank you so much to my patrons who help me to continue creating amazing content like this. And thank you to everyone who is here with me through all these adventures. All of your support means the world to me. Please find me on all the social medias as Daisy Viktoria. My website is daisyviktoria.com. The 3 layers of this dress, the shift, the kirtle, and the houppelande, are all covered in PDF tutorials I have available at the links in my description. The crespinets and the hat structure are covered in a bonus post for my patrons over on Patreon. And if you didn't watch that video about making the Cruella dress, I'll link you to that as well. I hope you have an amazing, magical day, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Bye-bye.